This CASA 4x4 is a work in progress. It's driven by the feedback from the investor panels at the Asian Agricultural Climate Finance Summit held in November 2021. We're grateful to our champions who shared the thinking of the panels about the opportunities and challenges for investors in 4 areas. And we're also grateful to our event partners, Grow Asia. This 4x4 has 4 areas of insights with 4 minutes to answer each point. What are the opportunities for better public-private collaboration to realise $100 billion per annum in climate financing? You will hear a quick summary of the issues from Jonny Casey, Climate Change Manager at CABI, and then Cedric Rimaud from Climate Bonds Initiative will share the investors' response.
At the moment, less than 1% of climate finance is directed towards climate-smart agriculture technologies. When agriculture accounts for 24% of all global emissions and is also one of the sectors most vulnerable to climate impacts. Similarly, other areas of private finance in particular are particularly low in smallholder farming contexts. We talk about mobilizing 100 billion per year for climate finance globally, but actually the real financial need for adaptation alone in just low-income countries is estimated at around 300 billion per year.
There is a global trend of rising volumes in the issuance of green bonds that will reach $1 trillion of annual issuance by next year. However, agriculture is not really participating in this trend, and it is difficult to issue bonds because of the nature of the sector, which is constituted of very small stakeholders. So it's very hard to do a bond for small farmers. And one way to go around that problem is to focus on the agricultural banks that could be a relay for issuing a bond to the market and on lending to small SMEs and small stakeholders. And there is another opportunity, which is to use securitization techniques where you create pools of projects which are relatively similar in nature, maybe because of the technologies that they are using or the geography they are focusing on, and then using concessional capital to de-risk the pool of investments by, for example, having a first loss guarantee coming from concessional funds, and then that way you can crowd in some private investments and really scale up the lending. And the due diligence by DFIs is actually very instrumental because private investors are reassured that the proper standards have been used in terms of protecting environment and social characteristics of the projects. Then we went on to say that banks are underutilized and non-bank financial institutions are also underutilized in this market, and that's something that could be playing an important role using public funds. Another way to scale up this financing for agriculture is you can go into a country, meet the local farmers, ask them what they need, and then do some pilot projects with them. But that's a very low impact because it's always small projects, pilots. It doesn't have scale. Another way to go about it is to go to market leaders like Barry Callebaut or Unilever or even Netafim, which is a leader in drip irrigation, and then use those organizations to issue bonds to the market, raise capital, and then deploy at scale their products through innovative offers like we've seen electric vehicles offered as a subscription, for example, or there could be an association with retailers to offer some convenient financing for small stakeholders to take on drip irrigation solutions or rooftop solar, small-scale off-grid equipment that could provide renewable energy. And the last point was about the different data that is needed to scale up the response from investor, accessing measurement of biomass on the ground so that investors can see their impact on protecting against deforestation, as well as data around having reforestation that is not monoculture, but that really mixes different species, so that the environment is not at risk of all the problems that could come with monoculture.
The CASA programme is proud to be building partnerships across the world to drive investment for climate-resilient agri-food systems. Visit the events page, past events section, to hear other expert viewpoints shared in the CASA 4x4s and webinar series.